Check, check, check.
Mic check, mic check.
Okay.
I need a me, because this morning voice ain't popping.
You don't know the chef from Muppets?
I know the Muppets. The Muppets still make movies. Is that the one with the nose?
What's the deal?
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 Yo, what's the deal?
What's the deal?
What's the deal?
What's the deal?
Hey, what's the deal?
What's good, everybody? I'm Steve Discourse.
What up, y'all? It's your girl, Jay Callie.
Back again for another episode of What's the Deal? We had a crazy busy week this week.
Oh, yeah. We got the Oscars came on this week. I was kind of halfway watching it, but I got a lot of information on it.
Got a lot to talk about. Up in Alaska, we had a mayor that voted down an anti-discrimination bill for LGBTQ, and that's going to interweave with a lot of stories we have this week.
Tripping. And Trump, once again, having another crazy week, taking us on a roller coaster ride.
We're going to touch on Cohen and Vietnam and Otto Warmbier, Jared Kushner, all of that stuff. And we've also got, surprise, surprise, a lot of racial sensitivity training to do this week because we got a Maryland delegate using some inflammatory remarks as well as congressmen. Oh, it just doesn't stop.
I love racism.
Hey, now. You're gonna... That was Jay Callie, for the record.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't me.
Steve, you love racism.
You're gonna throw me under the bus? Okay. Where should we start? We're gonna start with the Oscars with the fun stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
It's gonna start fun anyway.
I hope it stays fun.
There's some teachable moments.
I know.
From the Oscars.
God, the Oscars made history. So more black people than ever won Oscars this year. It was the 91st annual Oscars. So I know that's freaking crazy that it took 91 years for us to finally break some records beyond Hattie McDaniel. Okay. But the first Oscar of the night went to Regina King on her Best Supporting Role of If Beale Street Could Talk. That movie was freaking beautiful, and the whole time I was like enamored with Regina King, so I knew she was going to win that Oscar. Mahershala Ali won an Oscar. Spike Lee finally got what he deserved. Hannah Bleacher won for Black Panther, what she did with the set, and another Black Panther win. Ruth E. Carter won for the costume design. And I saw a lot of documentaries about Ruth E. Carter, so I kind of should have known she was going to win an Oscar this year too. But
Black
overall, but I expected Black Panther to win a little bit more. But at the same time, I was like, y'all might take my black card for this, but I was a little relieved it didn't win a whole lot because people be overplaying Black Panther.
I mean, look, it was an amazing superhero movie, but it was a superhero movie.
It was a superhero movie, right?
It's not often that those really fly up to the higher echelons, but it did a lot of good things and it got recognized. I mean, what do you want? Best script? Like, come on, man. It's a hero movie.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm happy with the Oscars that movie did win and just with the recognition that movie got.
Yep.
Let's wait for part 2 before we start going crazy again, y'all. Anyway. Overall, I was pretty excited watching the Oscars. And then I looked at the red carpet. I saw Billy Porter out there making things happen with the dress-cedo, as people are calling it. Okay. Billy Porter wore a tuxedo that was also a dress. I personally thought it was the bombest thing I've ever seen in my life. My eyes popped out of my head when I saw it. The top of it was like a tux. It was a very nice jacket. It had a bow tie, pan-out camera, dress, black, velvet, sexy, drag. Okay, it looked good. And of course, people had an issue with it, which is why I'm talking about it today.
Yeah, it looked super tight. It was really fresh. I think other times in my life, maybe I would have thought it was weird. And I don't know how mad I would have been about it, but it might have made me feel a little like, nah,
in real
but
life,
it looked really good.
It looked good, which is the reason why it wasn't weird. Like if somebody else, I'm not going to say there's no one else on this planet who could pull that look off, but somebody could have easily done that look and it'd be like, what the heck are they wearing? But Billy Porter, who I personally like to call the godfather of fashion these days, pulled it off. He made it look elegant. He made it look upper scale. He made it look very gender fluid. I didn't have an issue with it, but a lot of people were like, this has taken down black masculinity in its entirety in one night. And I was like, y'all all got to chill.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, I mean, we're talking about threads and fabric, to be honest with you.
Right.
And, I mean, there's a lot of weird fashion styles out there. And people don't necessarily have a problem with them, or they do have a problem with them because they're always going to have a problem with fashion styles. But this in particular, being that dresses are most commonly worn by women, and this is a man, it's just thread. We're just talking about pieces of fabric hanging off of somebody's shoulder or waist or whatever it is. We got to really step back, honestly, and say, what, this is not going to corrupt anybody. I mean, think of all the things we see out in the world that don't end up being like a linchpin for the way we turn out. I mean, we see movies and shows with people where they love each other, and sometimes we turn out as jerks and we hate each other. I mean, no one thing is going to be that crucial turning point, to be honest with you. So I think a man wore a dress on a high-profile stage. Just let him rock with it.
Well, overall, I would say Black History Month was looking a little shaky, but the Oscars being awarded to all these amazing black people, and that dress alone for me has saved Black History Month. But of course, there was some scandal and somebody had to come and mess it up.
Yeah, so the Green Book won Best Picture. And Mahershala Ali, man.
Brother.
I swear I know how to say that 50% of the time, and then somehow I stumble. My apologies. But he won Best Supporting Actor. And so that to me was super controversial. It was controversial to some other people because this is a book. I mean, this is a movie about a man's work who's a black man, and somehow the movie really ended up being about the white guy and his relationship with the black guy. And one of the most scandalous things is that in the midst of this movie being rolled out, Don Shirley's family, who is the black man in the Green Book, who wrote this Green Book, and he was the musician featured in it, his family came out and said, we were not consulted. Nobody reached out to us. Nobody wanted to get our opinion or our feedback or anything. And this movie is super, super, super inaccurate to the man that we knew.
Right.
And it's crazy to me. In defense of the movie, one of the writers came out and said, it didn't even occur to me that he had a family or to reach out to the family, in so many words. And that is really the problem. And this kind of example that's going to be set, we're going to come back to in the Cohen hearing when we talk about it later, is that it's kind of white people, we have a problem of taking agency away from anybody. And so these people came across interviews of Viggo Mortensen's character of this man and his son, and they said, let's make a movie about this. And somehow one of the writers at least claimed that it never occurred to them to reach out to the man's family, who the movie is really about. And that just strikes me as absolutely crazy, because if the reverse ever happened, everyone would be saying that, well, that was a dumb idea. Who thought it was okay to take a movie about a white man's story and make the movie about a black guy? Like it would never stand just minimal scrutiny of reason. And so it was very controversial because the movie, a lot of people also said, just wasn't even necessarily that great of a movie anyway. And then it's embroiled in all this scandal. And I don't know, maybe it was a makeup call. Oscars so wait, it might have been a makeup call. And it's a feel-good movie, right? So people want to believe in stuff like that, but I think it was just, and to be fair, I haven't seen it. I don't know if I've seen hardly any of the movies that won. I saw Black Panther. I'm not a big movie buff, but this movie, it just is like the biggest facepalm situation that you got a movie about a man with living relatives you can just reach out to, call them, and do some research. So I was listening to an interview with the director of Vice, which was the movie about Dick Cheney, and he said, oh man, going into this movie, I spent 4 months reading books about Dick Cheney, reading books by people who were in the rooms during the time Dick Cheney was in office to see what they said about him. We even hired an investigator to go around the country to do prep and interview people off the record about who Dick Cheney the man is, before we made a movie about Dick Cheney. And these people who did the Green Book couldn't reach out to the family of the supporting role of the man who the movie really should have been about. And that's what blows me, is I don't know why it's so easy for us to just cast out of hand. Agency is the good word. The fact that this man has a family, he had a life, he had a whole existence on his own that had nothing to do with his driver, and somehow the movie gets put through the driver's point of view, and it just doesn't make sense. And we're going to talk about that again. Like I said, same example with Congressman Mark Meadows in the Cohen testimony in Congress. So where do we want to go from here? Actually, you know what? We should go into that Cohen story right now. But you made a good point earlier as well, actually, about Black Klansmen. It easily could have been a movie that did the same thing Green Book did, had, unfortunately, a majority white production crew doing. It could have been a story about this police department and this black guy who came in and did this stuff. And Spike Lee, made it about this man and his experience and his story going through that. And the Green Book really missed the opportunity to do the right thing, no pun intended. And you got a story about a historic event, and I mean the Green Book has a pretty powerful legacy. You could have made the story about the man and the book in the right way, and then they just totally dropped the ball.
And you know what? The thing is, you did something that we see all the time. You take a black story and you focus it around this white man's perspective. First of all, like, he's the driver. I could see if it was like this big, significant person who played a big role in this historical event. No. You made it from the perspective of this very important black man's life. Made it from the perspective of his driver, just so that it could be a white man as the lead role. And then you give the lead role Best Supporting Actor. Why is he the supporting actor in a movie about his own
should be about him,
life? Goodbye.
And goodbye. Regardless of their relationship and how powerful or strong it may have been or important it might have been, I mean, the driver is literally a role that could have been not even considered nominatable for a supporting role
at all.
It could have just been, that's Viggo Mortensen, my driver, no big deal. On to the story about me, right? And so, all right, anyway. So like I said, we're going to talk about Cohen. Michael Cohen hearing was big. It was big on everybody's radar all week. Went down on Wednesday. Michael Cohen, if you're not familiar, was Donald Trump's handler, so to speak, his personal lawyer for many years. He's the guy who allegedly is paying, hush money to Stormy Daniels and doing all the kind of dirt for Trump, right?
Oh, my God.
Everybody was excited to go into Congress and see what he was going to say in front of people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and a lot of these super vocal new Congress people coming in and everything. And to be honest with you, it was a big disappointment.
Why?
There was wall-to-wall coverage. Everybody was excited about it. But to me, the biggest stories that came out were, Michael Cohen calls Trump a racist and a bad guy and a crook and this and that. And it's like, okay, but we don't need congressional hearings for this. Like, that's gossip. Like, that's just trash talk. Why are legit news sources talking about trash talk? Like, there's nothing substantive there. Not much substantive came out, and I did my best to really read and find coverage, and it was super thin about what factual information came out that we didn't already have. And you can't do anything with a convicted liar and a guy who seemingly will do anything he can to put his own situation. He even called him, he said he's all about his self-preservation, putting himself first, right? And so all you can get from it is that he says Trump's a bad guy. No, I'm sorry. Whether you believe Cohen or not, that's useless information, right? So anyway, why did I jump into that story right after the Oscars? Because like the Green Book, taking away the agency from Don Shirley, we had Congressman Mark Meadows, who wanted to refute the claims that Trump is a racist by bringing out none other than classic longtime Trump ally Lynn Patton, who is the woman who is an event planner for Trump and got promoted to a housing and urban development position. And this man said, well, if Trump's a racist, look right behind me, and what do we have here? I got a black chick right here. All right? If Trump is racist, explain this chick sitting behind me. All right? She works for HUD, and Trump can't be racist. He's got a black person working at HUD.
Yes.
And this is such a problem for so many reasons. One, for the record, she's not allowed to say anything. Like, if he wanted her to say something because of the situation, it's just the way this pageantry works at a hearing. She can't get on a mic and be like, I'm going to let some random person speak. You got to be a congressman to have that mic.
But further, he kept trying to make it seem like she could, right? He kept saying like, listen to what she has to say about Trump. Let her voice be the voice of reason. She has a lot of great things to say, and it's like, sir, you know she can't say anything.
Out somewhere else, right? And so it was really it struck a lot of people the symbolism of it as very offensive, because she could do is stand there, and. I mean, I don't know. Look on her. She did it voluntarily, and she's been down with the Trump organization for a long time. But the look on her face was not like happy to be here.
Yep.
You know, and even if she willingly did it. But I mean, what are you gonna go in there smiling, looking like full of energy and life? Like she was a prop, 100%.
Yes.
And that was pretty offensive. And again, it goes to this idea of. Here we have a whole bunch of white people arguing over something, and then they want to bring her in to just stand there and just be like, okay, but Exhibit A.
Black woman.
Sit down. Thank you, honey. Sit down. Okay. Point proven. And, man, I don't even know how I can keep spinning this to make it, to make people understand who don't already understand why things like this are such a problem. And why, you know what? Okay, here's where we take it now. We tack the other way. It's the black friend argument. I'm not a racist. I know a black person. I got a black friend, whatever. And that's what he said. Like, there are racial minorities in my family and so on. It doesn't change the fact that you can act and behave in ways that are insensitive or straight up offensive and harmful to other people who are non-white. And he had no idea of that. And freshman Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, during her time on the mic, tried to call him out for that, and the man started crying.
He cried.
He became visibly like on
upset.
His face. Oh. I don't know if there were tears, but he looked like a person who had just cried.
That's because she black and white called him a racist. She was like, what you just did. What you just did is racist.
Exactly. And then, unfortunately, Elijah Cummings, who is the chair of the committee, essentially made her walk that back. And he really defended Meadows, who, I mean, Elijah Cummings basically was shook. He was like, oh, look at how uncomfortable this man is. Let me step in, even though her point was extremely valid. And I really couldn't believe he did that, because I had also been seeing people, big up in him for doing good things and taking care of that oversight hearing. And I was like, did they hear that part where he essentially defended Meadows? Because anything other than just letting that interaction with Tlaib happen, anything more than that amounts to defending him, right? Maybe it's not the best venue to have that out, but I think she was fully right in calling that out, and it was important. And he wasn't ready for it, and it blew my mind. So that was, honestly, those were the only things that came out of the Cohen hearing. So if you're still like, oh, I didn't hear what happened or whatever, this and that, it's a lot of noise. So there's a lot of journalism out there right now, but it's a lot of noise. People are saying maybe Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez kind of made some leeway into getting a list of names of people who may be able to further give them information about things, but all of that is so theoretical, hypothetical right now. Nothing concrete came out. So did it sound scandalous when Michael Cohen, a convicted liar, is out there, grandstanding is what I think it was, and talking about lessons learned and being pretty judgmental and things like that. You missed some drama of the event, but keep on going about your business.
While we're on this break, we want to remind you, do not forget to share the podcast. Share it to all of your social media platforms, your Facebook, your Instagram, Twitter. Don't forget to use the hashtag #What'sTheDealPod whenever you share anything. And like and subscribe the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, wherever you listen. Thanks for spreading the love. You know we appreciate you. Okay, yeah, like Steve, you really just definitely said a mouthful. I was listening intently, but I'm just like, oh my God, how much more drama can there be in the news this week? But just when I'm ready to move past it, I'm like, more drama. Unfortunately, in Maryland, our own lovely Maryland that I rant and rave about, one of their delegates is a racist. I must admit now.
Shocking.
Let me say this. For the past couple weeks, it's been Virginia. Y'all know I'm from Virginia. I've been ashamed every time somebody asks me, where are you from? I got to hang my head low and say, I'm from Virginia, man. The land of the racist fools.
So
but Maryland, it's your turn. Because all y'all want to laugh at me and act like, oh, y'all so much better, y'all in the North. No. One of y'all delegates, Marianne Lazanti, called PG County, Prince George's County, dun, 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 a nigger district. I don't bleep it out, Steve. Let me say the word.
Can they hear me shaking my head?
She literally. Okay, so what happened is, one of her opposers for running for one of the positions in Maryland. I'm blanking on the position. My fault. Was knocking on doors in Prince George's County and kind of campaigning for votes. And she was like, I don't know why they out there campaigning in that nigger district. And then, of course, she got caught saying it, and it came back up, and everybody was like, you use this type of language? This is how you talk? And her response was, well, doesn't everybody talk like this? I'm sure I'm not the only one who uses these words. And everybody was like, that doesn't make it any better. And she's like, I say a lot of things I shouldn't say. I use the F word sometimes. You know what else I do? I use the Lord's name in vain. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you trying to make up for the fact that you use the N word by saying, I also say God sometimes?
And she didn't, for the record, she said it's not in her vocabulary. So she didn't really say she uses it all the time.
She did, though. Read between the lines.
All I'm saying is her on a regular remark technically was that, this is not really me, but everything else around it was like, but I mean, it's a thing that happens in America, right? Isn't that what we do?
Exactly. Yeah. She was like, oh, no, of course I don't say that. But let's say, for example, I do use that word every day. Isn't that okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry, lady.
It's not okay. So a lot of people are on her case. They're saying that, you need to resign. It's a really big deal, especially because like 1/3 of the population in the district that you are representing is African American. And you're casually talking about a nigger district. What?
That's enough to secure another win for her.
That would have been enough to secure a win, but she's definitely is no way those black people are going to vote for you now. And also, you're just making us all look bad. Why don't you just go ahead and step down? And it's the thing now for these representatives to be using these racial terms and then being like, well, I'm not stepping down, because she's basically saying no. Oh, this sounds familiar, doesn't it? You can't represent me. I don't want you to represent me, and I don't even understand why they have the choice to be like, nah, when the people are saying, I don't want you anymore. And when all of your colleagues are like, you're making us all look bad, I think you should resign. The goal of you to be like, no, we can fix this. No, you actually really can't fix it. You're a racist, and you've been exposed, and you're clearly not apologetic at all, because you're making excuses. So, Maryland, I'm sorry to say, y'all got to be down with Virginia now. Y'all part of the crew. We all got to hang our heads in shame now.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's not like Armageddon, but at the same time, it's just it's a terrible look. And I think we need to say, hey, I don't mind it. We got to crack some eggs to get to the. I don't know where I'm going with that metaphor. With the cracked eggs, we got to make a nice, racially harmonious omelet here, and we gotta
crack a few eggs to
anyway
have an omelet.
I'm bad with analogy and metaphor. I know that, so I got to not use it on mic like this. But yeah, it's sorry for her, but I'm not really. I don't feel bad for her. What's she gonna do? Get another job? Get out of here, lady! Like you dropped the ball in a way that a lot of us would hope would be a crucial turning point.
Yeah.
Okay, you didn't drop the ball in some other way that just was kind of a bad look. Like, this is super unnecessary. And again, it's the same thing we've talked about on other episodes. It's a totally unforced error. You came at this and brought this upon yourself. There was no context, and you were worked up in a situation and in a corner and felt, whatever, and you just said, district.
Exactly.
Like, this was freely offered by you.
Literally.
Miss Delegate. And,
literally.
She's not going to step down.
I don't feel bad for her. But you know what? There's even more problematic politicians and representatives. Man, I really hate that we always have to do this. Why can't people do good? Why can't we come on this show and be like, yo, our representatives are so bomb. Yo, everybody out here winning. But no, people got to keep messing up and making me have to come on here and talk bad. The mayor in Fairbanks up in Alaska, of course, he's tripping too. Recently, there was a few bills that were passed to say You can't discriminate against people specifically. You cannot be out here discriminating against LGBTQ people in the housing market or, job discrimination and all of these things. It was passed, and everybody's like, gay people are winning. This is their time to shine, This is the year of, give them what they deserve. He backpedaled. He's now vetoing this bill and saying, I don't think it's a big deal. It's not a problem. What?
It's nuts that, and the housing discrimination was one point in this legislation that was brought up in some of the journalism both of us have read. And I don't understand what's going through a person's mind when they're rationalizing this and justifying it and say, we both got arms and legs and hair and feet and eyes and we're human beings, but you know what? I have a right to get my rent wherever I want to go get it, and you don't. I want to apply and I want to live wherever I want, but you, real arbitrarily, we're just going to say it's all right for you to have obstacles. I don't know where the rationale comes from.
And the thing that makes this a big deal for me is not that he was like, oh, I don't think it's a problem. I don't think it's a big deal. We don't really need to pass this bill. These people aren't actually being discriminated against. It's the fact that it's already been acknowledged that it is a problem. The bill has already been passed, and now you're going to say, never mind. What is the purpose of saying, no, let's not pass this bill when we're aware that it's an issue and that these people are being refused jobs, that they're not getting the benefits that they deserve. They're not getting housing equality. We all see the issue. And you're saying, I think that everyone should be treated with respect, but to me, this just isn't a big deal. There's really no purpose, and I honestly think that you don't want your career anymore. Because anybody in 2019 that's being racist, which is, always the case, that's being anti-gay, anti-queer, anti-whatever, or if you're being anti-feminism, anti-woman, you don't want your career because black people, gay people, and women have been coming for necks for the past 12 months or more, in an intense way. So that's why we're talking about you, and that's why you're about to be canceled.
It just comes down to the fact that the threat that you perceive or the fear that you feel or the discomfort is not really there like that, for a lot of people. And that's not the justification that the mayor in Fairbanks used, but it is for other people. It is why people don't like the guy wearing the dress, right?
Yeah.
Because it gives you a lot of these feelings, but you just got to step back and unplug and really ask yourself, is there really a tangible threat or offense here, right? To a man wearing a dress? No, there isn't. What do you think is going to happen? Your kids are going to turn out funny because one person in the earth did something unusual? No.
There's fear.
And then if you oppose this legislation, why? Everybody, your fellow lawmakers have agreed that it's at least enough of a problem to put it on the books and say we need to write it, or to say it could be a problem, let's get ahead of it. Mm-hmm. Where's the rationale, right? Same with marriage. And we just had the Methodist vote, right?
Yes.
What was the deal with that?
So in the United Methodist Church, a church that has been very well known of being extremely conservative, of being not necessarily progressive in terms of the way that they view the LGBTQ community, and being like, nah, we don't really think that it's Christian. We don't really think that it's right to be gay and to promote those types of ideas, and they've always stood firmly on that. So it's not like this is something that has changed, but in a time where people are kind of walking that back and being like, while we still don't agree, we invite you with open arms, they're closing their doors in a sense, and they're saying any clergy that has been found to ordain a wedding of a same-sex union will be suspended for 1 year. You will not be able to represent this church. You cannot come in here and you're marrying people of the same sex. That's not what we stand on. Whereas in the past, that's something that they've been like, please don't do it. But if they did it, they would just kind of ruffle their feathers. They're like, you get the boot. And if you get suspended for 1 year, we'll welcome you back. If you ordain another same-sex wedding, you are permanently banned from this church. And they're like, we won't buckle, we won't bend. That is our belief. Gay people should not be getting married, and our church won't stand for it. And there are, of course, other arms or other wings of this church that are like, well, we don't see it as a big deal. But the point is, the main ordinance, like the rules that the church is going to stand on, is that you shall not be clergy in this church and be in support of same-sex marriage, period.
Yeah, it's a struggle. And it was over 50% voted
Yes.
to go this way. And so that was the thing. So there was a lot of opposition to it. And I know people are protective and hold their religious beliefs super core and deep to them, but at the same time, a lot of those beliefs are getting tossed by the wayside, and you're not, you're picking and choosing, so to speak, right? And now there's a lot of information in the Bible. There's a lot of lessons and rules and laws. So can everybody hold all of them in their head at once? No, probably not. But this is one perfect opportunity where it's like, okay, it's not some theoretical, philosophical big thing out here. We're looking at individual human beings, right? And are we going to oppose them getting together in a legal fashion, right? I understand that marriage, we think, is this religious thing, but it's equally, if not more, a legal, social kind of thing. And there's rights, there's obligations, there's freedoms and privileges related to getting married that people can't get. And that's what you got to look at and say, okay, I have a lot of my views on morality and being a good person and this and that, but do I need to oppose these two people right here to get their legal contract? Really, in a sense, they love each other. Do I need to stand in the way of that?
And to me, the answer to that question is mind your business. Mind your business. It has nothing to do with you. It doesn't affect your personal life. I don't understand why you care so much to try to make executive decisions about who's doing what when it doesn't involve you. It doesn't represent you as a person. It doesn't represent Christianity as a whole. Everybody is entitled to having their own views and beliefs. And if you don't like it, you can turn the other cheek. And goodbye.
Speaking of representing and turning cheeks, last bit of business we got to handle on this show. Trump, who represents all of us, does he not? Our president.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so Trump tried to say he turned the other cheek when it came to Jared Kushner's security clearances. Jared Kushner is his son-in-law who has a lot of responsibility in the White House. He's a very prominent figure in this administration, and he needed a top secret security clearance when he got his position in the White House, and every person in that process said that there were problems with this guy and he probably shouldn't have this clearance. And Trump insisted that that gets overridden. Everybody in the White House, everybody in the intelligence community, over in the agencies, there were red flags at every level leading up to getting to Trump. And Trump said, you're going to have to give my man this top secret clearance. And he had been saying for a long time, no, that wasn't me. I was looking the other way. I don't have anything to do with that. I don't want to get involved in it. But the New York Times and then the Washington Post confirmed separately that Trump, in fact, did insist that those concerns get overridden. So do with that what you will. At least one time now, he's caught on the record lying.
I mean, he's been caught on the record. I was about to say, wait a minute. I feel like this is kind of his thing, just lying, blatantly lying, knowing that he's been filmed, recorded, knowing that he's made opposite statements, maybe yesterday. Sometimes he goes one day in between telling one story and then telling a totally different story. How different would our lives be as American citizens if we had an actual president?
How different would they be if we had Kim Jong Un?
Okay.
So speaking of flip-flopping...
First of all, wait. Yeah, bring that up.
So speaking of flip-flopping back and forth on stories, Trump was in Vietnam to negotiate this nuclear treaty with North Korean leader Kim Jong Un. And it was set to be a 2-day thing. Excuse me. Set to be a 2-day thing. And very early on in day 2, it was done. It was canceled. They said, I walked away. Trump said, I walked away because... They demanded 100% total lifting of all our sanctions, and we just couldn't do that. We would have done some in exchange for what we had, but they wouldn't budge. Well, guess what Kim Jong Un said?
That's a lie.
That ain't the way it went,
right.
bro. And not to say that you got to take his word over the president of the United States, who hopefully we would trust more, but normally these things are acknowledged to be very complicated. Obama acknowledged that these things are very complicated when trying to negotiate the Iran deal and everything. And these kind of he said, she said don't need to come up. Like normally we can just be all hands, palms up on the table or whatever they say, right? And this is the sticking points. But now we have these negotiations where they don't even agree on what the sticking point was. Kim Jong Un said, well, actually, no, it was Trump who would absolutely not relent, and we were willing to meet halfway in these ways, and he wouldn't. So the master negotiator at work. So we just got to trust that Trump knows what he's doing, because nobody can get a deal better than him. Nobody. No one. No one.
I actually think that that's true.
No one. Yeah. And so, all right. So last thing we're going to talk about, it's a minor little thing about Trump and North Korea, actually. And I wonder if maybe it's a negotiating tactic, because Trump likes Kim Jong Un very much. And honestly, I've never believed words out of Trump's mouth more than when I hear him say that he has a good relationship with this guy. Like, it just sounds very honest to me. I believe him when he's saying that, right? And he made a lot of headlines this week when he said that he believed Kim Jong Un when he said that he had no idea that Otto Warmbier, the American who got arrested for being in North Korea last year, was being poorly treated or tortured or whatever the word is that's right to use. He said, I believe Kim Jong Un. He said he didn't know it was happening, and I believe him. And I got to just think, bro, what? How could he not? This is a high-profile case. It's not like a random South Korean that crossed the border, maybe.
It's a whole American.
This was so high-profile. Like, they know what was going on. When this guy got apprehended, there's no way an American sneaking into your country missed the radar, and they were operating and not letting you know. I don't believe that. Kim Jong Un
knows everything going on in that country.
So the family's pretty mad about that now. They say, bro, after our son died, this is what you're going to tell us now? And I wonder, in the back of my mind, I don't know why I want to give him this credit, but I wonder if he's saying that to keep on his good side and say, look, I like this guy. This is how we got to negotiate. I don't know, but massive headlines. It's not a good look for the president of the United States to come out and be backing dictators that were sort of at antagonized relationship with.
I just had a really random thought. Can I share it?
Go for it as we wrap up.
Honestly, you might kick me off the show after this. I don't know. I might be disowned by my family and friends, but I have something good to say about Donald Trump.
Listen, we're nonpartisan here. Go for it. Oh yeah, we put all sides on the table.
I think so. I don't know if that's true, but Donald Trump. Man, I've gotten into trouble for making these types of statements, but I'm going to make the statement anyway. Donald Trump knows what needs to be sacrificed in order to make a good deal that's going to benefit him in the long run. Now, is that a good character trait? No, because it's selfish, and he throws people under the bus like it's nobody's business, and I don't necessarily like that, but he's true to himself, okay? Man, I just had this random thought. He's true to himself. He knows how to make money. Now, he might be going bankrupt, blah, 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 but it's not because he's not making smart moves. It's because this is, in the long run, going to save him money. This is a ploy. This is a tactic, right? He's not actually broke. He's very, very rich, and he does that so he can keep all of his money. He lies a lot, that's true, but he tells lies that at the end of the day, they aren't actually going to hurt him. He seems untouchable. People be like, why is he getting away with this stuff? He knows people behind the scenes. He knows which strings to pull. He's got Kim Jong Un. He's going to say that stuff and be like, okay, this is going to upset this family, but whose respect and whose companionship do I want more? The family of this random American who got killed, or one of the world's most powerful dictators? I mean, it's scoffed upon, and I don't like it, but I got to see this man's angle. Donald Trump knows what he's doing to keep himself in his high position of power and respect, and he's pulling the right strings. I still don't like him, y'all. Listen. I still don't like him. I don't want him to be the president, but you got to know he's playing the long game, and he's actually doing a good job. He's doing a good job in the long game. You saved the bombshell for the last moment of the show. Okay, you came in the last minute and said, let's get scandalous. Bro, wait, I think I might vote for Trump. Wow. Nobody listening ever accuse us
of being one-sided, okay? That's the second side right there. There you go. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's all self-serving. But he has talents, yeah. He has some kind of talents, right? You can't be a total, complete incompetent in every single way and luck up and be the president. So somewhere he's got some capabilities, right? And so you might be right about that.
He's a very rich and powerful man, and that is not on accident. He is an idiot, but he knows how to play that idiot card to his advantage. He knows how to keep people talking about him, which keeps him relevant, which keeps him rich, which keeps him powerful.
Bang. That's it. Mic drop.
Drops the mic.
That was a lot, everybody. Thanks for hanging and rocking with us. We had to cover a whole ton of stuff. So keep tuning in, like, subscribe, share the post and everything. And as always, we'll be back next week. I'm Steve Discourse.
It's your girl, Jay Callie.
That's the deal.
All right, people, thanks so much for tuning in another week. What's the Deal podcast?
You can follow us on social media
at Steve Discourse.
And you can catch Jay Callie.
It's Jay Callie, ITSJAYCALLI.
We got to send a big shout out to Clifford Cartel for composing our theme music. And wherever you listen to this, make sure you subscribe.
Family, subscribe.
Write us a review.
Share the podcast. Subscribe to it wherever you listen.
Share it with your friends, family, your loved ones. Heck, share it with your enemies. We don't care. Just help us spread that word. We truly appreciate it.